The front, okay, cute. I like it. I like what it's doing for her butt, but why is there a flap hanging off of her butt? These are the questions that keep me up at night. Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I post a ton of other Taylor Swift related content. I also talk about other kinds of music sometimes. So if that interests you, make sure to subscribe and click the little bell icon so that you get notified every time I make a new video. Today I wanted to do a video that's kind of making me want to shit myself because I'm terrified, but I think these kinds of videos are super fun to watch, especially when they're about something specifically, such as just Taylor Swift. I wanted to try out making one of my own, so we'll see if you guys like this type of video. If you do, I might do a reacting to your guys' unpopular Taylor Swift opinions video in the future, but it took me like 3 hours to come up with 13 unpopular opinions about Taylor Swift because I am kind of a basic bitch. Okay, my favorite Taylor Swift song is All Too Well. Folklore and Evermore, I think, are the superior albums, which is pretty agreed upon. It's very difficult for me to find something that isn't a universally shared opinion about Taylor. And I'm sure you guys don't really need this reminder, but this is just an opinions video. This isn't me trying to make you feel the way that I feel about certain things. I just think these are super fun to watch. I would love to hear your guys' opinions also down below. If you're brave, you can even list some that I haven't talked about that you think are your unpopular opinions. I think we just need to be a little more accepting of a Swifties' preferences, because when it comes down to it, we're all here on this video because we like Taylor Swift. We can all agree on that. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Number 1, Illicit Affairs is in my holy trinity. It is up there with All Too Well and Champagne Problems. Those three kind of rotate. For the longest time, All Too Well was like the superior number 1 Taylor Swift song for me, but now those three just kind of take turns. I think it is one of her most well-written songs. The harmonies have a way of pulling at your heartstrings. Whenever you hear that, ooh, it just tugs at me the same way the sound of All Too Well's guitar riff does. The little dun, 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 dun. Like, oh my god, when you hear that, it's just like your heart is breaking. I also think the lyrics are some of the best she's written because of the way it's really subtle, detail-oriented storytelling. Leave the perfume on the shelf that you picked out just for him. She tells the story through very small visual details. Also, that bridge, oh my god, the emotion in it, like you can't tell me that isn't some of the best stuff she's ever done. Okay, number 2, I think The Archer is a very average Taylor Swift song. Like, it's not bad, like it is a good song. And I understand how people really favor the vulnerability in the lyrics, and I think the lyrics are good, but the production kind of lacks for me. Okay, here's a really unpopular opinion. I think Cornelia Street deserved track 5 on Lover more than The Archer did. But yeah, I think the lyrics are great. I mean, they're not any better than like other Taylor Swift songs. Like, yeah, when you compare it to like most other pop songs, it's fantastic, but compared to a lot of other Taylor Swift songs, it just seems to fall kind of right in the middle. It's a good song, and that's like all there is to it. But yeah, the production, I feel like I understand what she was trying to do with trying to make it sound how anxiety feels. I completely get that concept and I really admire it, but sometimes there's a bit of a disconnect between having an idea and then actually executing it. Musically, it's just not that satisfying to listen to as far as the production goes. That beat needs to hit a little harder, in my opinion. I love how it sounded when she performed it live. I would love for the recording to have that kind of energy behind it. Once she gets to that like they see right through me part, yeah, I just think it could be a little bit better, but I mean, it's good. And people have taken offense before to me saying, oh yeah, like I like it, but like that's the end of it. Okay, number 3, this dress is horrible. I want to like it, but what the hell is that? There's a hole in the back. There's a flap hanging off her ass. Why? It's just not a good look. I think her hair looks really good and I like the boots, but that dress is so bad. It's just not good. The front, okay, cute. I like it. I like what it's doing for her butt, but why is there a flap hanging off of her butt? These are the questions that keep me up at night. Who told her this was a good idea? The hair looks so good though. Okay, number 4, I don't think Olivia Rodrigo's music is that good. An interesting question that I thought while I was writing out this one was, do you guys prefer famous Swiftie Conan Gray or Olivia Rodrigo's music more? I definitely think I prefer Conan Gray's a little bit more. As far as Olivia's music goes, I think the lyrics are pretty shallow. The songs are catchy, but it's just not my thing to like have a catchy song that doesn't have a whole lot of depth as far as the lyrics go. And I mentioned before how my favorite song off of her album was Brutal. I do still stand by the fact that those lyrics are probably the best on the album, but then I realized the guitar riff is just taken from this song, and this artist actually came out and said it's fine to take something old and make it new again and be inspired, because he was inspired by someone before him, and I get that and I completely agree with that. Like, I feel like you should talk about or credit whoever has inspired you. Also, Deja Vu takes the melody from this Radiohead song. There's nothing mentioned about that. I had to like go and find that out. And even Taylor Swift has done samples of other artists and like credited them, and I think that's fine. But her or her team maybe might be responsible for this, or the label. They're like throwing on Taylor Swift credits for like very minuscule things, but then they don't acknowledge the influence that either older or more obscure artists or bands have had over her music. And regardless of who's responsible for that, whether it's her or her team, it just doesn't give me warm fuzzy feelings. Like, it makes me tired of the songs after a while. I mean, they're catchy, it's not like bad, but I just feel like for something that's that successful, it could be like handled better. Another reason, I think this is kind of unfair, but I hadn't listened to the album when it first came out, and I saw people on the internet saying it's very similar to how Taylor was writing at that age, so I became interested and thought like, oh, if it's like 18-year-old Taylor stuff. So I went in expecting like lyric quality similar to how Taylor was writing when she was that age, and I just didn't get that. Like, the details and visuals aren't really there for me. At that age, you know, Taylor was writing Our Song, Mary's Song, You Belong With Me, Love Story, like painting these huge pictures of like different situations, and I felt like, yeah, other than Brutal and Jealousy, I feel like each song is like an iteration of the same thing. I couldn't tell you the differences between all of them. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna get destroyed for this. I think Deja Vu probably has the strongest visuals and description, so there's that, but I just was expecting more diversity and lyricism, I guess. I don't know, Taylor's made my standards really incredibly high, but yeah, her songs do get stuck in my head sometimes. I think they're catchy, but I get tired of them really fast because the depth of lyrics and intrigue just isn't there for me. I feel like I see more similarities to Taylor's writing in Conan's music, which makes it a little bit more appealing for me, so I just think I like his music better. I'd love to hear which one you guys prefer down below. That's something that sounds really interesting to me. Also, I just want to clarify, I would not consider myself to be some kind of like hater of her music. I'm not going to completely dismiss her just because I didn't like her debut album. Like, I'm open to listening to any future work she puts out, and if there's more thought put into the lyrics, then I'll probably enjoy it. Okay, now that one's over, number 5. I definitely find Better Than Revenge problematic. Like, I understand why people have issues with that song and the whole mindset of the song, how a girl can come in and steal your boyfriend. I get it. But I don't understand what's wrong with Girl at Home off of Red. Can someone please explain it to me? Like, I don't understand what's the problem with saying, yeah, I might do it if I was stupid. Like, I 100% agree and understand the misogyny of Better Than Revenge, and we should acknowledge that and realize the problem, even if we do still enjoy the song. But what is wrong with saying, yeah, I'd do it if I was stupid, when a guy wants you to be his side chick? Like, either people are getting way too sensitive, or I'm just not understanding something. It's not like she's saying all side chicks are these evil, unintelligent people, which is kind of like what she's doing in Better Than Revenge a little bit. It's more just like her rebuttal to this guy. Like, she's kind of roasting him, and it seems like she's saying she wouldn't think highly of herself if she went through with it. Like, she has too much respect for herself. I don't know. That's the way I'm interpreting it. Let me know if I'm just overlooking something. Number 6. Oh god, I should have taken a couple shots before this. Her bangs since the pandemic have been kind of a mess. Like, there have been instances where they look pretty good, such as when she was at the Grammys, winning Album of the Year for Folklore. I think the deal is she had a stylist for the Grammys. Otherwise, all those little videos she would do to either introduce a new single that was dropping or a new album or something, those bangs are kind of whack, I'm not gonna lie. That I understand she's a songwriter, not a hairstylist, but like, I'm sure she's been able to look up tutorials and like learn how to style her bangs. Since I got bangs though, I understand that it can be a challenge, especially if it's humid or sometimes they're just not cooperating. I'm never 100% satisfied with my bangs, but some of these, I'm just confused. I especially make sure my bangs look okay when I'm doing the like 30 minutes out of the week that I film a video, because like that's the time they need to look okay, and it's not that hard to make them look good just for like those 15-30-second clips she does. However, I do appreciate that she is kind of making the curly quarantine bang a thing, because honestly, there's just too much going on right now to really worry about that kind of thing. I love how she especially made curly bangs a thing during the Reputation era. If you remember, there was a time when people would literally curl their entire head of hair, like curly, and then straighten their bangs, like full on straighten them, because it was horrible and crazy embarrassing to have any kind of curl in your bangs, and that was just kind of unrealistic expectations, especially for varying types of hair textures. So I like that she's making that become a thing. Some people are still roasting her for that. That's not what I have a problem with. It's the weird, strange, like bedhead bangs that are happening sometimes. But since I got bangs, I've been looking for inspiration from her from the Red era, specifically in the 1989 era. For some reason, her bangs were always completely flawless during those few years. Like, I've even looked up street style pictures where like there's wind going on and humidity and she's outdoors and not just freshly styled for an event, and they looked good literally every single time. I don't know what they were doing, but I wish She remembered what they were doing. That was just unparalleled, like bang perfection. Okay, number 7. The nightgown and cardigan was ugly. Don't get me wrong, I think it was a cute personal touch. The fact that that's her actual nightgown that she sleeps in, I think that's pretty cool. But like, that's all you've got in your closet that you sleep in? Like, there's nothing else? This is just what we're getting? It has no shape. It's like kind of strange. I don't know, it's just not my fave. I feel like there could have been a cuter option that still had that lived-in nightgown feel. That's probably all I gotta say on that. Number 8. The second half of Lover, the album, loses me. Those songs on the second half were definitely all growers that got better with time, but they just never hit quite as hard as the first half. Daylight, It's Nice to Have a Friend, and Afterglow just kind of blend together for me. I don't know if it's just the placement or what, like if she just lumped the weakest ones together at the end. I feel like it might not have been as noticeable if she kind of spread them out throughout the album. I can appreciate those songs individually for what they are, but like when I'm listening to the album, you've lost me after False God. Like, I have checked out. Number 9. I think The Moment I Knew is crazy underrated, and I didn't come to this realization until very recently. Hopefully it gets more hype with the Red re-recording that's coming out in November. I think it was a really incredibly vulnerable song. Like, this song is what you guys make The Archer out to be. It's so incredibly personal. I think it's a really diaristic masterpiece. She's really letting people into something that actually happened, like one situation. Honestly, just one little moment. The moment I knew. Like, it's such a tiny thing she's writing about, and she writes this whole song that's like very dynamic. It just tells such a story in such a short amount of time. Number 10. I think Stay, Stay, Stay gets too much hate. The details, as far as the storytelling goes in the verses, is what makes it superior to Look What You Made Me Do, Me, Shake It Off, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, Bad Blood. I could go on. Like, all the stuff that's typically rated pretty low in her discography. But the verses are really just carrying that whole song. Like, I understand people's criticisms of the chorus kind of sounding like a commercial jingle and not having much thought behind it, but like, she is spoon feeding us a whole situation in the verses, and I think that's really cool. Number 11. Her singles after the Speak Now era and before the Folklore era were trash. Like, by the time we got to Reputation and Lover, I had just stopped expecting much from the lead single and kind of the ones that fell after that, because up to that point I'd kind of gotten nervous after hearing We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together and Shake It Off as the ones that kicked off the masterpieces that were read in 1989. I just was afraid that her writing was going to be something I wasn't into anymore, even though those singles have grown on me. What was she doing? And also, Me, Look What You Made Me Do. Like, by that point I was like, okay, we just gotta stick it out. There's gonna be some better stuff on the album. We just have to let her do this crazy stuff she thinks she needs to do. I just think Homegirl didn't know how to pick singles. She knew for a bit, and then she forgot, and then she remembered again with Folklore and Evermore. However, you can't really go wrong with any of the songs on Folklore or Evermore. I hope this trend continues, is all I gotta say. Number 12. I think New Year's Day is a little overrated. It feels kind of weird placed at the end of Reputation with such minimal, bare-bone production at the end of an album that was really heavy on the production. Like, sonically, it doesn't seem to fit. I think the lyrics fit. However, people make it out to be incredibly outstanding, and everyone was so in love and obsessed with the lines, "Please don't ever become a stranger whose laugh I could recognize anywhere," or "Hold on to the memories, they will hold on to you." And like, those aren't bad lyrics by any means, but people were losing their goddamn minds over this. And it's like, this is Taylor Swift we're talking about. Like, this just seems like, for her at least, those felt like very quick little scribbled lines in her diary that she just put into a song, and they were being placed up on this pedestal, and I don't really understand it. Maybe I've just gotten used to her perfection, but it was like, hearing those lines, it was like, guys, like, she hasn't even gotten started yet. Okay, number 13. We made it almost all the way through. I'm not sure if I buy the whole country accent thing she had in the beginning. I've seen a few other people be skeptical of this, but not many people talk about it that much. Also, I went back and watched the Journey to Fearless documentary. Her and her mom were talking about how she was bullied because she liked to play instruments. I also thought that was strange. Back to the accent thing. First of all, she's from Pennsylvania. Her parents don't even have a country accent. I'm really confused where that came from. I had a Russian accent the first 5 years of my life because my mom has a Russian accent, and I live in the South and I still haven't picked up any kind of country accent. I can't even say the word y'all without feeling very forced, or ain't. It just sounds, I feel like I sound insane when I say those things. I don't know. Unless she was listening to like just an insane amount of country music and just was not listening to like anything else or even hearing people talking to her. It just seems weird. And as far as the whole "I was bullied because I like to play guitar" thing, I guess I could maybe see it if her school was incredibly tiny and like super cliquish, and I'm sure she was bullied. Who wasn't? Or even maybe even bullying her because she was into country and wanted to play country music while living in a northern state. But to be bullied because you like an instrument or because you like music and singing, that's such such a general broad hobby that like most people are interested in. Like who doesn't like music? I'm just confused. But I took voice lessons, piano lessons, guitar lessons, and no one thought that was like a strange thing. Like for someone to be like, oh my god, you're interested in playing a guitar, like an instrument, like that's so weird. Like that's just strange. That's crazy. Who does that? A lot of people also like to sing. I remember in the documentary Andrea was saying she wanted to sing on stage and that was such a strange thing to do. A lot of people I knew back in middle school liked to sing. Like even if they weren't in choir, they were like interested in music.
Also, Taylor literally grew up in the time of Britney Spears. Like, didn't every girl want to be a pop star?
But yeah, the way it was portrayed in the Journey to Fearless documentary felt very like, not like other girls to me. Like you can't tell me people don't like music. And I could see kids saying, oh my god, she can't sing, kind of like that song she wrote, Mean. But I just can't see a kid seeing another kid singing on stage and be like, that is the strangest thing I've ever seen. I just don't buy it. Also, who knows what kind of narrative Big Machine was pushing, if they had a huge amount of control over this documentary and what they kind of wanted to portray. I don't know if this really counts as an opinion, but it's just a couple things I'm skeptical about from her early career. But let me know if you do disagree and that you think the country accent has some sort of perfectly good explanation, or why someone would think being interested in music and songs is an uncool thing. But yeah, that is all of my unpopular Taylor Swift opinions. If you want a part 2, I can try to think of more. This was really difficult. I had to really dig in there. Let me know down below what are your unpopular Taylor Swift opinions, and let me know if you'd be interested in participating in a reaction video where I react to your guys' unpopular opinions that you submit, probably on my Instagram. The link to that is down below. But yeah, I might do that at some point if you guys are interested in that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a like if you did, as it helps me out so much, and I will see you all next week for another one. And I hope you have an amazing day. Bye guys.